Yes, I brought one of our brother
From Ghana.
from the homeland.
Yeah.
How did you know I'm from Ghana?
Yeah, you just look like one away.
Oh,
You know, so
I
the
look like
thing
I'm from
said-
Ghana.
Yeah, you look like
Yeah, one of you.
our people. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I can safely say Ekow.
Akwaba, me that's it.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, me that's it. Miss, thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. The Chromantic drum, when we play tunes like the Jawbone, Jawbone, Jawbone. When we play the Jawbone, we are right on the periphery of invoking our ancestral spirit. When we go further down the road and play one that is known as country, we are now in our ancestral spiritual realm, which means we invoke our ancestors. And this is no Ekow, Simpson.
Hey, what's good, everybody? I'm here again, still in Portland, and as you can see, we are heading towards Motown, a Maroon community. You know, as an African from Ghana, just like any other African, when we hear the story through the books, through videos, through audios, through the mouth of our ancestors or mouth of our grandparents or our parents or our uncles or aunties, we get to realize that there was a slavery. You know, people were taken from Africa. But the question is, where were they taken to? Where were they taken to? Books will tell us that some were sent to the southern part of America, Southern America, where we have Jamaica, the Caribbean, I would say. We have, you know, Colombia, Cuba, Venezuela. We have St. Lucia. We have Trinidad and Tobago, the original Jamaica itself. You know, these are some of the names we hear that our forefathers or our ancestors were sent to. And today, as a Ghanaian YouTuber with the aim of connecting Africans all over the world, with the idea of showcasing the similarities and the differences, the common things we will see, I decided to take a beautiful trip to the Caribbean. So I'm here in Jamaica right now. I've been able to do Kingston, Jamaica, beautiful, very busy. I've been able to do Ocho Rio, kind of like relax a little bit. I've done Montego Bay, an awesome place, especially for tourists. The beaches are so beautiful. And then I did Negro. I love Negro because it's just like Cape Coast. Now, talking about Cape Coast, I would say Portland, where I am now, is that of Portland. Hearing the story, the characteristics of Portland from Dr. Ben, I could say that it's a place where, you know, people will go work hard and come and relax, chillax over there. And you will bear with me, if you've been to Cape Coast before, you realize that that is what Cape Coast is all about, you know. So we decided to make a trip to the Motown in Portland, right? Yes, to talk to the people, experience the culture. I hear that that place has the African consciousness. They believe that, yeah, they're from Africa, you know, the way they do their thing, the lifestyle and everything. So we're going to have a little conversation before we get there. Now, Doc, thank you for coming on my YouTube channel.
You're welcome.
Yes. First of all, tell us your name and tell us what you do.
All right, so I'm Dr. Ben Israel, and I'm from the Hallelujah Lifestyle Wellness Center. And that is basically a wellness center. We run a herbal clinic. We operate one in Port Antonio, Portland. We operate one in Maroon Bay, and then we work out of one in St. Anne. So that's basically what we do. We make available to person natural health alternatives, you know, as it relates to their health.
Right. So natural herb alternative.
Yes.
That has also been my story. Always on my YouTube channel, I say, can we have an alternative to where we are now?
Yes.
If I don't want to be in the USA, the UK, the Canada, the Asia, is Africa an alternative place for me to go? Now, we're heading towards the Motown, which is, I would say, made up of the Maroon community,
Right.
tribe.
Right.
What is your story? I'm sure you've had an experience with them. What is your story? What can you tell us about the Maroon people?
Well, you know, I was blessed in 2020 during the pandemic because I didn't want to be involved in what was happening. I decided to move into the hills. So I lived among the Maroons for some time, weeks, and I've recorded that experience. And my first encounter was, I wasn't in Jamaica. So it's almost as if you're not in Jamaica. So as relaxed and as comfortable as Portland is, Moortown or Maroon, the Maroon community up here is a completely different world. A completely different world. Why do I say that? For one, the people here in Moortown are not money centric. They're not focused on money. So when I lived among them, I noticed that there were also certain traditional way of life that is still practiced among them for hundreds of years. So for example, when I lived here and I was basically living in a tent, I would see them in the mornings with their dogs and their junga, their spear. And a part of their livelihood is hunting wild boars.
Okay.
So that's what they do for a living. So I'm gonna see if we can go up there.
Okay.
Yeah. So I want you to see one part of Moortown, a Maroon community, and I'll bring it into even a more deeper rural aspect.
Whoa.
So that part of Moortown is where the people's livelihood is based on two things, only two things. It is hunting wild boars, which lives wild in the hills, and also selling what is called yam.
Yam.
Right. So the yam grows wild and they harvest it and they sell it. And I would see them just going to harvest the yam, a truck would come and buy it. And they would have the money and they would party, drink, and they would spend it off and do it over again by the next morning.
That is with the Maroon people?
Yes.
Some of them.
So that era. So my first impression was that these people were worthless. Because how could you make so much money? This is one of the trucks, by the way.
That comes from Portland.
Yes. That carries the market goods, right?
Okay.
So I would see them doing it and I'm saying, why would they just make money? Because where we are from, we pay rent, we have bills. For them, they don't have no bills. Water is free.
Okay.
The only bill they pay is electricity. So the land is free and food is free.
Land
if they
is
want.
free, food is free.
Right, because they can live off the land 100%.
Okay.
There's enough green stuff for them to eat, so they can live off the land. So there's a very little dependence on cash, a very little dependence on money. And after about a week, I began to detoxify myself of the over dependence on cash. It started happening to me, where for the first time in my life, I saw life as life without being valued by money.
Okay.
Very, very important. So they build their own houses from the resource of the land, and they just live off the land. So when I saw that, that was when I realized that life doesn't have to be as complex as we have made it to be.
Yeah.
Yes, life can be because I noticed also that the stress level that exists in most of Jamaica does not exist there, because their life is very simple. It's just about living as the day comes. That's how it is for them. And so I also realized that because they depend so much on the land, their respect for nature is unlike anywhere else in the island of Jamaica. Their respect for plants, their respect for the rivers.
Yeah, the source of water.
Because their source of livelihood is from the land. So they have a greater respect for the resources than we do. And so living among them really humbled me, and it really allowed me to see life differently than how I guess I went there with the same European concept of valuing money and valuing things. So they give things, they share things. I can imagine when the Europeans came, how kind they were, because that was the same level of kindness they extended to me. They are very loving. Another thing also is that's why I want to bring you there. The presence of the ancestors. Now, we're not talking about ghosts. Because of their respect for the ancestors and so on, when you go there, you feel the presence of the ancestors like nowhere else. Nowhere else in Jamaica. When you go there and sleep, A lot of people gonna want to think say, yeah, Dr. Benjamin gone hocus pocus. No,
Yeah.
I'm telling you, when you sleep there, the dreams that you get, and how we know is because when we were there were persons who came to the camp, because we had a camp, who came a couple nights after I was there. And in the morning when we got up, they would tell us what their dreams were. The dreams that you got, the encounters that you got, were purely encounters where you would, and for example, you would dream that the whole community, because where we were staying was at one time a built-up community, a vibrant community, that when electricity and other development came, persons move and come closer to it.
Okay.
So where we went was once vibrant communities. And so when we went there and sleep, it's almost as if we are so happy to have you. You know, and you don't feel a sense of fear.
Yeah.
You know, so it's I would say to any Jamaican who wants to get in touch with, you know, themselves, to take a trip to one of those Maroon communities. And since then, I've traveled to different Maroon communities. The flavor here is different from other flavors, but there's a lot of similarities.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of similarities.
A lot of similarities it is. A lot of similarities. Now, I've been speaking to, you know, a few Jamaicans here and there. I see there are two types of Jamaicans.
Yes.
We have the ones who would say, I am a Jamaican. I have nothing to do with Africa.
Yes.
And then we have the ones like the Maroons and the others who would say that, no, our ancestors came from Africa. What caused the former, no, the latter?
Yes.
What made it so for them to say that, no, I'm not a Jamaican, sorry, I'm not an African, I'm just a Jamaican. I know myself as a Jamaican, I have nothing to do with Jamaica. What do you think caused that?
Part of that is our education system, part of that is the media. Because we define ourselves, the system, our education system defines us based on where we are born.
Right.
Not the bloodline that we are from.
Okay.
So if you're born in Haiti, and that was one of the methods of controlling us. Because in order to successfully control, you have to disconnect.
Yes.
Yeah, you have to, which is one of the reasons why do you think Africa is having the challenges that it has? Some of the most brilliant Africans are building America, building Jamaica, building Haiti, building other parts of the world, and feel no sense of responsibility to build Africa. It is because very early we were disconnected from the motherland. We were redefined, and we were redefined on where we were now born. And so we now have to begin to redefine ourselves. Our education system has to go back and to correct these things. Then there was the media who came and added to that education. And so we feel that we don't want to be associated with Africa, because again, when we were taken out of Africa, the impression that we got of Africa was that it was a deprived, oppressed, uncivilized part of the world. Nobody wants to be associated with something like that.
True.
When we began to saw movies portraying Africa the way it is, we were shocked. We all of a sudden we wanted to go there. Remember, the reason why people want to come to Ghana and come to other parts of Africa is because of technology now showcasing to persons that it is different from what was portrayed to us.
Right.
So that is the reason why there is still a small amount of mentality of people not wanting to see it. So we are basically in Moortown now. I don't know if you recognize that word on the wall.
Yeah, Akwaba.
You recognize it?
Yeah, Akwaba is a Ghanaian language that means welcome. Yes, Akwaba. That is over there.
So this is the community center.
Oh, okay.
So we are now in Moortown.
Akwaba.
And these are some of the men we're going to be talking with.
Okay.
Very knowledgeable. Yes, I've brought one of our brother
From Ghana.
from the homeland.
Yeah.
How did you know I'm from Ghana?
You just look like one away.
Oh! I look like I'm from Ghana.
Yeah, you look like
Yeah, one of you.
our people.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I can safely say Ekow.
Akwa, but that's it.
Yeah, that's.
Yeah, but that's miss. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Thank you, man. Welcome.
Yeah, man.
Thank you.
The line, you can put up the pen.
All right, so let me do the proper thing. So what is the proper thing? Okay, let him.
Yeah, man.
Yes, chief and about.
Oh, you know, I'm not seeing from man in the year, but I'm not seeing. You shout him?
No, call him to me now.
So
So this is
I've heard about
one of the most well-known YouTubers from Africa.
Okay.
You know, we have to, anytime we come, we have to big up.
Yeah, yeah, why not?
Yeah, man. They have to big up more town. I think, I don't know, Wadi Maya. I don't know if Wadi Maya.
Yeah, man, he was here.
Wadi
He
Maya
was
was
here.
Yeah,
here.
man, yeah.
Yeah. So this is one of Wadi Maya's friend.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
man.
man.
God, so you know?
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
We've been to a lot of places across
Yeah.
man.
the country.
So I'd contact him, but
I guess he went to all the Maroon community.
yes, because when we leave here, we're going to a compound.
Okay,
Yeah, I'll check Chief Corey.
link of courage.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's for the clinic. That's a clinic.
The whole community, Maroon communities, along with adjoining communities.
Okay.
So basically, this is the center of
The center of
the community, or more on Maroon community. Yeah? And this community is also the hometown of Nani.
the hometown of Nani.
Yeah, give me a second.
All right, sure.
Yeah, this is where Nani would have lived.
Let me put it on him.
Queen Nani would have lived here, fought here, died here, and of course buried here. Yeah?
Yeah.
This is more town. As
Let
it
me
is.
just put it here. Yeah. Is that a water? I can hear something. Is that water? River.
The river down there.
Okay.
Yeah, man, this is our neck of the woods. This is our cultural space. We use this space for our council office, as this community is being governed by the colonel. English terminology. Yeah, but for us, he is the chief, yeah?
Yeah.
And he has his council,
Okay.
which is consisted of the chief himself, the captain, which
Oh,
is,
you're a captain here?
yeah, man, which is second in
Who
command,
is the captain?
Bernard, Mr. Bernard. You know him,
Okay.
Yeah, man. He was here, I think, the last time he came or before. Yeah, man.
So all Maroon come when is a captain?
Yeah, man. Captains, majors, foreman.
Ah,
Yeah?
Wow.
so those are the persons in charge of the
The
security
council.
component.
The council.
So does the council have because it's a government.
Yes, it
So
is.
as a government, does it have a security, health, social? Is it structured like that?
No, 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 no. We do the normal health center, the hospital, even the schools and things like that. But in terms of governing, what we do have is,
Council.
yeah, we have the council and we have a great level of autonomy to our lands here. Our land, the Maroon lands, because the Maroon lands is being governed by the council. Yeah? So, all the doings in regards to land issues is dealt with by the council. The Moortown Maroon Council is what is known as a working committee that deal with land issues. As, like I said, land is for us. Land was given to us, was shared between Nani and her people, the Maroons, and of course the British.
I wouldn't say given, but
Shared,
you were here before.
shared,
Yes.
shared. Because land was demanded, throughout the course of the war. Because the Maroon would have been in the ascendancy for most of the struggle. So there was a point where there was a battle that was being fought basically a mile from here, Seaman's Valley, just down the road there, the plains of Seaman's Valley. A great battle was fought there where the Maroons would have been victorious, which they would have used the carcoon whisk, which they would have called ambush.
Which is another herb.
Now it is known as camouflage. Because basically that's where the camouflage uniform derived
So
from.
most people don't know that. So what you're saying again is the credit of inventing camouflage
Started from here.
started from here.
Came from our ancestors.
And it was a herb.
Yeah.
I'm sure
It is a herb. It is a it is a food. Basically it's a bean.
Yes.
It's a large bean.
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 Bean. is the word.
Yeah, one of the largest bean species. And it can be eaten when processed, can be eaten raw, can be eaten cooked. That's the bean. Now the beans are born from vines.
Yeah.
Those vines are used chunks. Remember we speak of vine, right? But they are used chunks. So the laterals and extended vine that come from those chunks would have been what our ancestors uses to ambush themselves, wrap themselves from head to toe. Not even the point of your boot you couldn't see, or your point of your toe. That's how they were skilled, meticulous and dexterous in getting them things together, which was natural, which was a part of their guerrilla warfare, which was very important in how our ancestral warriors would have fought the British. Now, from that...
And just to this is where the whole concept of invisibility comes from, because one of the key claims that the enemy would make is that they were attacked from out of nowhere.
Oh, yeah.
Beautiful.
Yes. So the Maroons were said to be mystic. They had powers of invisibility.
Supernatural.
Yes.
That one time they classified our ancestors as being supernatural.
Supernatural.
However, it was that cleverness in way of thinking. It was that guerrilla warfare tactics, which they would have brought from Africa, of course. And don't even forget this for once. They would have classified us as tribal people. We would have classified ourselves as nations from across Africa.
Right.
Now, it would have been various nations or tribal people that would have been culminated together under the leadership of none that became Maroons.
Yes.
Now, they would have been here with their own spiritualities,
Right.
their own culture,
Right.
their own dialect or language,
Right.
their own guerrilla warfare tactics, because you speak of the Akan speaking people who dominate the Twi. You speak of the Asante, from that came the Ashanti warriors, which Nani came from. Nani both came from the Asante tribe, and also the Akan speaking people. That is why she is revered, was and still is being revered to as Queen Nani, because she had came from the royal tribe of Ghana, which is Western Ghana, which is the Akan speaking people,
right,
who dominate the Twi, like I said. Now, from that came the Cromanti,
Yeah.
which is much deeper. Now, if you know the basics, know the Twi, then it would be much easier for you to know at least the basic of the Cromanti language, which our direct ancestral blood lineage, starting from Nani and our brothers and those people that ran away into the mountains. That's where the whole spirituality, the whole... Then you go to Ghana, you go to Benin, you have the Mandes, you have the Fantes, you go across to Nigeria, you have the Jollof, you have the Hebrew, which the Hebrew language is basically our real... The Yoruba and the Igbo language is also our Jamaican real patois. They are the one who dominate that aspect of the language. The people from Nigeria. The Yoruba the Igbo. We are direct descendants. Likewise, we are direct descendants. Our blood lineage. Remember, it starts as ancestral lineage till it becomes blood lineage automatic, right? So we are direct. You go over to places like Ivory Coast. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
And then, so those were where the bulk of the people that ran away with Nanny came from. Splinters, like when I say splinters, small amount from other. Because the fact that they were brought here for the North Atlantic slave trade, don't forget the slave trade begins in Jamaica from the 15th century. It turned out the 15th to the 16th century in the plains of Clarendon. That's where the slave trade begins in Jamaica. Our direct involvement via Nanny and her people would have been the turn of the 16th to the 17th century, because Spain would have been here from the turn of the 15th to the 16th. And then Britain would have came where they would have had a war between themselves, fighting to control Jamaica. So that's where that's how all those things were brought here, those cannon and things like that. You see up Titchfield Hill and Navy Island and those places. All those places were colonial military headquarters. That's where the ships would come in for the Jamaica leg. When the British came, Port Antonio was the main base for the Rio Grande Valley. As the Rio Grande Valley would have housed a lot of plantation, colonial plantations.
So that's critical, because Portland very early played an integral part
in shaping the future of Jamaica in that regards. And also Portland would have been in line, because it would have been coming from Clarendon straight across, right?
It's called Port.
St. Catherine, remember St. Catherine was basically the headquarters for the Spanish. Spain who had colonized us first. Then, of course, Britain would have had Port Royal, was the town for Kingston, the capital for Kingston, which was ruled by Henry Morgan. Of course, Henry Morgan was a British. Now, to say this to say that all those people culminated together, became one powerful force.
I have a question before you go on, because of what you're saying. So I can deduce from what you're saying that the Maroon has a bit of Ghana, has a bit of Nigeria, has a bit of Benin.
Ivory Coast.
Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
All right.
But mostly influenced by Western Ghanaians, which was the Gold Coast, modern day Ghana, and of course Nigeria.
Okay. What I wanted to ask you, because I said we were talking, does Moortown, by extension, the Maroon community, do you have a good relationship with, because we are, back in Africa, is there any type of official channel of dialogue, channel of relationship between Moortown Maroons and any African, let me say, government entity?
All right. When we have our celebration, we have delegations from across Africa.
Right.
We have delegation from Nigeria, which is the Hebrew, and the major three tribes that would have been a part of us. Before I go any further, you see that musical instrument in there? Actually, there's another one. There's two, You see that little one that look like a fife, a whistle?
Yes.
This one here that lie down.
Yeah.
And that one there, this one is called the Oja. Oja, it's a musical instrument in Nigeria. One of their deep-rooted spiritual instrument.
Yes.
And also both for entertainment. Just like we use this the other day.
Right.
Now the other one, with those things, it's called the Aboka. It's another one of their musical instruments. Last October, when we had our Maroon celebration here, they came and we exchanged cultural items. So they left these two instruments and we would have given them others in return. Now, Nigeria, Ghana, and before I go any further, Ghana, we are presently in dialogue with a Ghanaian who wanted, and I am being crystal clear, he wanted for the Motown Maroon Council to give him a piece of land so that he can set up a little cottage for himself. And in exchange, he wanted to come and teach. Because you know we have quite a lot of basic school in adjoining communities that are Maroon communities, like Calwan, Barracks, Ginger House, Kent, Bellevue, Windsor.
Right.
And of course ourselves. So we are in dialogue with him, which is basically an agreement for him to come and teach the Twi in the infant schools.
Wow.
Because of the fact that teaching the youngster from the grassroots, the Twi language, it can be called Twi, it can be called Twi. Teaching them the language, it's easier than to teach them the Cromanti language or the whole Cromanti play. The Cromanti play is what constitutes the very foundation of the Motown Maroons. The Windward Maroons, but namely the Motown Maroons, constitute our very foundation. The Cromanti is deeply embedded, deeply spiritual, deeply cultural. It holds the secret of the Maroon existed from the beginning when they ran away down in that geographical sea area in where Rio Grande meets the sea. Yeah? Right. So our ancestors, long gone and not so long gone, and recently, even presently, they would have been reluctant in delving too deep into that deeper. Yes. Because of the fact that, yeah, we speak of spirituality, yeah, ancestral spiritualities. Because even when you do the Cromanti play and thing like that, it entails a lot. Because of the fact that we play Papa, we play Mandingo, we play Mangala, and we speak of all those African tribal, musical, spiritual activities, cultural practices. But there are two tunes that we play on the drums. Like you see the drums there? The Cromanti drum, when we play tunes like the jawbone, Jawbone, jawbone. When we play the jawbone, we are right on the periphery of invoking our ancestral spirit. When we go further down the road and play one that is known as country, we are now in our ancestral spiritual realm, which means we invoke our ancestors. And this is no word amount thing. This is facts. Factual. Because of the fact that invoking them, it intensifies the practice, the play, the Cromanti play, which means the habeng is used, the drum plays different, the songs are different, dancing different. And at certain point we have used herbs and things like that. Using, in your language you would say hisa, we said hisa.
Yeah.
You say hisho, we say hinsho. So that's water and rum.
You can relate to what he said?
Yeah, of course. No, me see it pan him. You get what I say? So it's like, no, those are basics, yeah? Basic Twi. Basic Twi, yeah? Basic Twi, basic Cromanti combine, yeah? Now, like I was saying, so, you know,
because I don't know if you forget the point, because I was at a recent celebration in St. Thomas with some young people. And I was born. I've never seen anything like this. These were young people singing And let me tell you something, they can sing for hours and not repeat.
Yeah.
And the songs, the language of the songs
All right.
were not Jamaican. Let me
No,
say
yeah, definitely African.
yes. And I'm saying, where would they go
No.
to learn that?
All right, let me explain. The thing about it, it's a case or a scenario where I'm not going to delve deep into it, but I just going to give you a little thing on the face.
Because another thing about the Maroon is that they're very private.
When Nanny came here, Nanny was brought, Nanny and all Africans, for whatever reason, ways, means, however they were being obtained by the colonizers. They were being obtained, so they owned them. They would have built what is known as Fort Cromarty in western Ghana, which is now World Heritage Site where tourists flock by the millions to go. That's where they would have housed the people from Africa that they would have been bringing across for the North Atlantic slave trade, which they would have landed in North America, and that would have been in close areas like close to Canada. At one point, I will get to that anyway. From Fort Cromarty to North America, where they would have shipped them from North America. So it would be from Fort Cromarty via North America to Jamaica and Haiti. So the North Atlantic slave trade, North America, Haiti and Jamaica would have been the main areas that they would have brought those slaves in that era, which would have been the British. Now, those voyages was en route to Port Anthony. So in that geographical sea area where Rio Grande meets the sea, which is in St. Margaret's Bay, Burlington, it would have been in that geographical sea area that they had what was termed shipwrecks. Which Nanny and some people would have seized the opportunity to run away, took the Rio Grande Valley for it, and head for the Blue Mountain terrains, which they knew nothing about or nowhere. However, the terrains of the Blue Mountain was conducive to their type of guerrilla warfare. Again, add to that, they were being guided, aided and abetted by none other than the Tainos. The Tainos would have been the remainder of what was left after the Spaniard came. Tainos, of course, was the original inhabitants of the land. The Tainos was across the Caribbean, was across the Americas, was across Peru, places, Guatemala, places, Cuba, and all those areas. But this side of the hemisphere, from Cuba come down, it would have been in this order: Peru, Cuba, Jamaica. That would have housed the most Tainos before Spanish came. When Spain came, of course, they would have been displaced. They would have been raped. They would have been maimed. They would have been killed. And of course, disease would have taken over. So it's a case where the remainder that was left would have headed for the mountains, which they would have discovered places like the John Crow Mountains, the cavities of the Blue Mountains. Now, they would have escaped, but at that particular few whatever hour, half an hour, few minutes, few seconds, that they would have had the opportunity to make a choice. The majority would have refrained from running, not knowing. Say for instance, they say 5 ships was in that voyage. It would have been basically most from one ship, and that would have been the ship that mainly that Nanny would have been on. Now, British archived it, Britain archived it that, because remember, you know, Britain would have been writing things for their own historical purpose and their own reason and whatever. They wouldn't have been writing anything much per se about us in a positive sense. You get what I mean? Only what they would have forced to be writing to prove their point in regards to convincing. No, at that point, people would have had the opportunity to run away. They didn't. And like I said, I won't delve too deep because possibility exists that this, no, not possibility. This is not the real forum. The real forum would have been we, the council, the chief and things like that. However, disagreement was reached, disagreement happened. And yes sir, Nanny would have classified, Nanny and her people would have classified the people that choose not to run away as traitors. So that's where that part of it ends. However, the people that chooses to stay on plantation, those are the ones who becomes the communal people of Jamaica. They, along with them, they wouldn't have been getting along, the Maroons and whatever. So it was a case where a lot of those people was on these plantations. Which, like I said, Nanny and those people would have run away. They went into the Blue Mountain, took the Blue Mountain Valley for it then, the Rio Grande Valley. You know Goldenville?
No.
You know Fellowship?
Yes.
You know the health center in Fellowship?
Yeah.
Just as you come across the bridge, en route to here, that right turn.
Oh.
Takes you across the Rio Grande.
Right.
Goldenville, it's a lot of place. Thousands of acres of land.
I've never been up there yet.
Which is being overlooked. That land is also owned by the Maroons. Moortown Maroons.
I didn't know that.
Now, it is being overlooked by two mountains. One is known as Watching, one is known as Pumpkin. Watching is where they would have stayed and watched. It's true to the name. Watching coastal areas and the rest of the valley. But it's a mile out of Port Anthony. It's beyond that community known as Breastwork.
That's right.
Yeah.
And
why is it called breastworks?
it was another colonial plantation. Breastwork is another large plains. In Port Anthony and all those areas colonial. Just like most of Kingston and St. Andrew. Colonial masters own all those places, all those areas plantation, banana and cane. Now, escaping took the Rio Grande Valley for it. They would settle there. However, like I said, large plains close to Port Anthony. So they were found quickly. So they keep moving inland. Which means they're going into the deeper into the Blue Mountains. Settling here and there as they were being relentlessly chased and hunted by the British Army. Now they would have finally settled in a place known as Nanny Town. That now would have been the first official settlement for Nanny and her warriors deep into the cavities of the Blue Mountains. Now, Nanny and her warriors would have circled Portland all the way back to St. Thomas. So they would have taken the mountainous areas, you know, places like Mansion Hill, you know where Apple Grove School is. There's an area there known as flat grass.
Yeah, the flat grass.
So they would have gone through the area, the A&M, Roland's Field, all the way to Dalvey. Dalvey was a very good. And remember, our direct history is based on oral and tangible, the oral and tangible traditional aspect from our ancestors through lineage. Great-great-grandfather, great-grandfather, grandfather, which I would have known. My father, you get what I mean? My grandfather would have lived for 93 years. And he would have taught me.
Your grandfather?
As one of his favorite
grandson.
Well, at that time, it wasn't a lot of us. It was mainly like 4 of us would have born at that time. No.
So a lot of what you know is not what you would have read in a book. This is orally. Orally transferred to you.
Direct blood lineage. Yes. It came, it is embedded, it is in me.
Right.
Because I can go further. 2 stalwarts. They're my uncles, and they were more uncles, 4 or 5 of my uncles before them. You get what I mean?
So these 2
yeah, so that
the gentleman at the poster here?
So that can say direct blood lineage.
Right.
We have 3 major drummers. One of them supposed to call these granduncle or uncle or so. Stick guy that played the drum. So they would have settled it in that community known as Nanny Town. And for our ancestors, it was named Nanny Town. It was named Nanny Town by the British.
Okay.
As Britain would have wanted to name everywhere that Nanny would have settled, Nanny Town. Our ancestors wouldn't have had none of that. Now, where we are between the Blue and the Jamaica Mountain. And let me be clear, where we are now, we are mostly in the Jamaica Mountains. As the Rio Grande runs between the Blue and the Jamaica Mountains. So going up the Rio Grande, say going Ginger now. Right. And this side is the Jamaica Mountain of the Rio Grande. And on that side is the Blue. Now the giant up, the land up in the mountains where it is known as the Blue and Jamaica Mountain natural watershed. I say this to explain to you how why that river was the name of the community, because it was known as Woman Town. Stony River. Stony River was British name. English. Tony River.
That's
our land.
Tony River.
We don't say river, we don't say spring in our commentary or what we learn. River.
Tony River.
Now, from that.
It's been a bit difficult to learn because I heard you word river.
From that natural watershed, which is the third highest rainfall zone in the world, the Blue and Jamaica Mountain watershed, 48% of Jamaica water is generated from the Blue and Jamaica Mountain. Third highest rainfall zone in the world, and from several rivers derived from that area, which the Rio Grande and Stony River came from straight down, because Stony River runs back into Rio Grande, as Rio Grande is the main arbitrary in this mountain. So they would have settled there, fortified there, fought for quite a few years, which eventually they were being found. So they keep moving. Part of that enclave was being destroyed by the British, and Nanny and her warriors destroyed the rest. Moving across now from the Blue to the Jamaica Mountain, which they would have been settled here and there until they finally reaches this community. Now this community had gone through 4 name changes.
This community here.
This Moore town as it is now had gone through 4 name changes. Under Spain colonization, it was Muir. Muir town, which Spanish word, right? With the fall of the original Nanny town in the Blue Mountains, Britain wanted to name this community the New Nanny Town, which it was named briefly, because even some of those historical books, It's in it.
Let's look at the new name.
The new Nanny Town. Briefly.
The new Nanny Town.
The new Nanny Town. I had mentioned earlier on about the charcoal, the vine, the camouflage vine, or the ambush vine, and this is the fruit. Yeah. Now, that battle that happened in Seaman's Valley, the Battle of Seaman's Valley, which our ancestors ambushes themselves and defeat. Like Doc said earlier on, they would have said that a ducky fight them or a spirit fight them. It was actually the ambush fighting.
Yeah, they were just hiding somewhere and doing their thing.
So they wanted to name this community the new Nanny Town. However, our ancestors wouldn't have had none of that. Now, the Battle of Seaman's Valley would have forced the British Army to give a lesson in years to our ancestors. As our ancestors, even while they resides in the Blue Mountain in the original Nanny Town, they have up in the Jamaica Mountain what is known as Woman Town. And it's a case where Nanny wouldn't have had women fighting. Women became liabilities because of the children. The children were normally on their backs. Running through the mountains, through the jungle, through the forest, through the children will be crying. Total giveaway. So Nanny, initially, women were fighting. Like a great, highly spiritual women were
warriors.
Now, Woman Town was a secret town where it is known as Woman Town. No men would have lived there. But for whatever reason, men would have gone there for reproduction purposes. Now, those male, 16, 17, 18, would have been secretly brought in this community here, right up at the Asafo Yard there, which is the play field. It is known as the Asafo Yard. Asafo Yard means place of training, place of practices, place of gathering, place of meeting. Endow them with their spiritualities along with other elders. I remember it was a council.
So it was a ceremonial.
And then integrate them into the army. Now with that, the Maroon army grows. And they would have been agreed, there would have been some form of agreement because land was being shared. The Britain at one point wanted to say trick Nanny and her people. And in this in most cases Nanny wouldn't have been present in meeting nobody. It would have been captains, majors, lieutenants, or foremen, or people that would represent, met the British military representatives.